Hi, this is Mrs. Zhu, and we're working on a practice quiz number 1. This can be found on Edmodo. You can find it in the folders where we put homework and worksheets. It is a 2-page front and back. You received it on separate papers today in class. This is to be completed by Friday, tomorrow, the 29th. And we did complete most of it in class. I will go through it here in the video again, as well as with detailed explanations. Feel free to pause, rewind as you wish to. That is the purpose, to help you at your own pace. I'm going to start on this side of the worksheet. We are to write one equivalent ratio. Now, number 1, I have the ratio written as a fraction, 3/6. I'm going to write it not in a different way, but also in fraction form, but I'm going to reduce this fraction by dividing by 3 in my numerator and denominator, giving me 1/2. I can also multiply by 2 in my numerator and denominator. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. I could also write 6/12 and many more other answers. That is how I can find a ratio that is equivalent. Let's try that for number 3. If I go ahead and divide by 4 for both 8 and 12, I can reduce it all the way down to 2/3. Or I can choose to multiply up by 2, or I could pick 3 or 4 or 5 and get 16 over 24. That is another possible answer. I'm going to let you complete 2 and 4 by yourself. For number 5, I'm finding both the rate and the unit rate. What is the difference between the two? Well, the unit rate is only the number. Okay, and what I mean by that, let's try letter A first. If I am traveling 420 miles in 6 hours, the rate is answering basically the question, what is my speed in miles per hour? Okay, so to get how far I travel just in 1 hour, I'm simply going to divide 420 miles over 6 hours. Now, I happen to write this as a fraction because when I read it, I always read it from top miles down to hours. So I know that I've written it correctly. So when I go to divide, I know that the number on the top goes in the box. So in a fraction, I will put the 420 into the box and the 6 outside it. When I do so, I get 70. My rate is going to be 70 with the label miles, not just miles, but miles per hour. Good. I'm going to box my answer so you can clearly see, because I have a lot of work around here. Now, if I decide to instead to divide 6 by 420, then that's 6 hours, 420 miles. What that's going to give me is hours per 1 mile, but I don't usually express it in hours per mile. It makes more sense in real life to say miles per hour. We usually want to know how far we're going based on a unit of time. So it's not incorrect to give that kind of a rate, but you do have to label it correctly if you do choose to divide it. If you do choose to divide it where you're looking for hours per mile, then because the fraction I've written has 6 on the top, the number on the top goes in the box. So when I divide, 6 goes in the box and 420 goes outside. Now, even though 6 is smaller than 420, just make sure you add a decimal. We need 2 zeros so that it's bigger than 420. And if you still remember how to divide with decimals, that's how we would go there. But we don't need to find hours per mile, so I'm not going to continue, but that's still, absolutely okay as an answer. But miles per hour makes more sense. And then the unit rate, I said, was only the number, so it's just the 70 without the label. Okay, so if we look at C, some of them we can do mentally. We've got 40 meters in 10 seconds. Simply divide 40 meters by the 10 seconds. 40 divided by 10 is 4. And I'm going to label it meters. Oh, not just meters, but meters per second. Good. And simply the unit rate is just the number. To help you remember, think unit. Unit is just the number. Unit, number, unit, number. Let's go down to number 7. I'm going to skip 6. Try that by yourself. Number 6, you're just circling A, B, or C. It says to choose a chart that's proportional. Number 7. We are looking to see if this relationship is proportional. 1 minute, 30 words. 2 minutes, 60. 3 minutes, 90. 4 minutes, 120. Is this proportional? The words typed per minute? Yes. How do I know? Well, there are several ways we can look at this. We can look at the unit rate. Okay, I'm going to highlight that. That's the unit rate. The unit rate is going to give me a 1, the 1 minute, not the 2 minutes, 3, or the 4, but the 1. When I look at the unit rate, I want to see if that's true throughout the time, different times and numbers of words. So, because the unit rate is constant, where 1 minute she types 30 words, because you can see that another minute later, another 30 words. Another minute later, 60 plus another 30 gives you 90. Another minute later, 90 plus 30 gives you 120. It's consistent. Okay, of course, instead of a repetitive addition is just multiplication. So 2 times 30 is 60. 3 times 30 is 90. And 4 times 30 is, 120. Let's write that here. Times 30, times 30, times 30. Okay? So because it's constant, anytime a rate is constant throughout, then we can say that it's proportional. So they're using some vocabulary words. We can also say that because the ratios are the same. So we can write a ratio of minutes to the number of words, a fraction. So we can say 1 minute 30 words, 2 minutes 60 words, 3 minutes 90 words, and 4 minutes 120 words. Are those fractions equal to each other? Why, yes. And since they are all equal ratios, then the relationship is proportional. All right, on to the next worksheet. We're going to look at the first 5 you can do by yourself, very similar to the first 4 that we did earlier. So you can kind of ignore these directions here. Basically, you're finding complete a proportion containing the given ratio. So find a ratio that's true, that makes it equal. So we're going to look at number 6. Now, question number 6, you must read this sentence first. It says that to get glass cleaner, he needs to use 1 part vinegar, 4 part water. So Mr. Gilbert decides to mix 2 cups vinegar with 5 cups of water. And did he use a correct ratio of vinegar to water? Vinegar to water should be 1 to 4. He made 2 vinegar, 5 water. So we're supposed to have 1 to 4. He makes 2 to 5. Are they a correct ratio? It needs to be proportional when we're talking about like a mixture, in this case, of different parts. And it's not equal. 1/4 is not the same as 2/5. Okay? So we can answer that question and say no. And in several ways we can do this, because he needs 8 cups of water for 2 cups of vinegar, and not 5 cups, since the ratio for the solution is 1 part vinegar, 1 part vin, to 4 part water. Okay, that's one way to express it. You can see that I've used a vocabulary word ratio. You might have answered this question a little differently. That's fine. Make sure it makes sense. It's by itself, it's understandable, it's specific. Don't just throw out numbers and say you multiply that by 2 and that by 7. What is that? What is this? What's the 7? If you say 30 and 50, what are those 30 and 50? 5 cups? If you say 2, 2 what? 2 cups vinegar? Be specific. Great. Let's look at number 8. And number 8, we're looking to see if the relationship is proportional. So if we write a ratio for each of the situations here, I'm going to do time over gallons. So we're going to have 1/14, 2/28, 3/42, 4/56. I want to know if all of those fractions are equal. If they are, then yes. Did you get it? Is it yes or no? It's yes. We could also look at the rate, the unit rate, what I'm highlighting there. The unit rate is 14 gallons per second, and it's a constant rate. Okay, meaning it, maybe the second minute didn't go any faster, or the second didn't go any faster, and every second after didn't go faster or slower. It was always consistently 14 gallons per second, 14 gallons per second. Okay, should help you with number 4 as well. And you're going to complete the table by yourself at the bottom, and we will go over your answers tomorrow in class. Then you will take your quiz and hope that you can get a homework pass if you earn an A, 90% or better. Study hard, look through your notes in your notebook, look through the homework assignments, see if you can practice some of those problems again, and you're welcome to complete any part of the notes worksheets that we didn't finish for extra practice. Thank you.